Defense investors just funneled $1.2 billion into a company building autonomous killer drones, and here's the part that should worry you. There's basically no international rules stopping them. That company is Quantum Systems, an autonomous defense tech startup that just closed one of the biggest funding rounds in drone history. Think of it like this. A decade ago, if you wanted to strike a military target, you needed a pilot, a person making the call. Today, a machine could do that all on its own. And the venture capital world is betting their money that this future is not just coming, it's already here. The funding round signals something massive. The world's military-industrial complex believes autonomous warfare is inevitable. They're moving money toward it fast because every year a rival nation waits is a year they fall behind. This isn't theoretical anymore. It's not sci-fi. It's happening right now in real time. With real money from real investors betting on a future where decisions about firing weapons are made by algorithms, not humans. The wild part, most governments haven't even figured out what the rules should be yet. Policy moves slow. Venture capital moves at light speed. And right now, capital is winning. So here's where this gets complicated. If one country's algorithms are making firing decisions faster than another country's generals can even authorize a response, what does that mean for the next conflict? Quantum Systems isn't exactly a household name, but they are one of the fastest-growing defense tech companies in the world right now. They design and build autonomous drones, machines that can fly, navigate, identify targets, and make decisions without a pilot sending commands in real time. Think of it as a chess computer, but instead of thinking about the next move in a game, it's thinking about the next tactical decision in a defense scenario. Why are investors throwing money at defense drones now? 3 reasons. First, the technology actually works. Autonomous navigation used to be a dream. Today it's reliable enough that militaries are comfortable using it in real operations. Second, everyone's doing it. The United States military, China, Israel, Russia, they're all pouring resources into autonomous defense systems. If your country doesn't develop this tech, you're behind. Third, it's profitable. Defense budgets are massive and stable. Unlike consumer tech startups that chase trends, defense contractors know they'll have customers for decades. Quantum Systems round was led by major venture firms and strategic defense investors. $1.2 billion. That's not just significant, it's a statement. It says that somewhere in a boardroom full of investors, people looked at autonomous drones and said this is the future, and the future is now. They are betting that autonomous defense systems aren't coming in 20 years. They're coming in the next 2 to 3 years. That speed is the real story here. So how do autonomous drones work? Let's break it down because this is where the real complexity lies. An autonomous drone has 3 critical systems. First, sensors, high-resolution cameras, thermal imaging, radar. Think of it like this. A human pilot needs to see a target to hit it. An autonomous drone needs to see its target, identify it with certainty, and distinguish it from similar objects. That's harder than it sounds. Second, navigation and planning. The drone receives a mission, patrol this border, cover this area, and it has to chart a path, avoid obstacles, adapt to weather, fly efficiently. It can't ask the pilot, what do I do? Because there's no real-time connection. It makes those calls in milliseconds. Third, most controversial, the decision layer. When sensors identify something matching the target profile, what happens next? Does it report back? Does it engage with autonomous systems? That decision tree is baked into the algorithm. The drone is trained on thousands of scenarios, and in a live situation, it decides, not a human, the machine. That's the leap that makes this powerful and troubling. A drone controlled by a pilot is a tool. A drone making firing decisions is an agent. That distinction is blurry now, and Quantum Systems is betting their entire business that blur only gets darker. Let's get concrete. What would autonomous drones actually do in the real world? Border security is the most obvious use case. Imagine the United States-Mexico border. Right now, that's patrolled by people in vehicles, helicopters, and fixed sensors. It's expensive, it's slow, and it covers maybe 60% of the territory consistently. With autonomous drones from a company like Quantum Systems, you deploy a fleet that never gets tired, never calls in sick, never needs a paycheck. They patrol continuously, identify movement patterns, and alert human operators when something looks suspicious. One human watches a dozen drones' feeds instead of piloting one aircraft. Then there's maritime defense. protecting your nation's coastline or territorial waters. Autonomous drones can launch from ships, patrol vast areas, identify threats, coordinate their responses. China's been investing heavily in this. The United States sees it happening and rushes to catch up. It's a classic arms race dynamic. And then there's the controversial part, offensive operations. Imagine a conflict scenario where one side has autonomous weapons and the other doesn't. The autonomous side sends a swarm of drones that make split-second firing decisions based on pre-programmed rules. The other side still has humans in the loop, and humans are slower. There's a real military advantage to being first with this tech. That advantage is why countries are racing to develop it. That's why investors are betting on quantum systems. The market isn't hypothetical, it's unfolding right now. Quantum systems isn't alone in this space. There are other companies building autonomous defense drones, General Atomics with their Reaper line, Israeli companies like IAI and Elbit, Chinese manufacturers who have actually deployed autonomous systems in real scenarios. So what makes quantum systems worth $1.2 billion? One word: acceleration. Quantum systems isn't bound by the bureaucracy that slows down traditional defense contractors. Those companies have been making drones for decades. They're tied to government procurement processes, they move slow, they follow established playbooks. Quantum systems is built like a tech startup. They iterate fast, they push boundaries harder, and they're attracting talent from the AI and autonomous systems world, not just career defense engineers. That speed advantage is everything in a market like this. The first company to deploy truly reliable autonomous decision-making at scale wins not just customers but trust. And trust becomes contracts, becomes dominance. Think of it like this: OpenAI didn't beat Google because Google wasn't smart enough. OpenAI won because they shipped faster, iterated harder, and weren't constrained by a megacorp's organizational drag. Same playbook here. Quantum systems is the OpenAI of defense drones: leaner, faster, less afraid to take risks. Now here's where this gets interesting. That speed and risk-taking is why investors are excited, and it's also why governments should probably be nervous. Moving fast and breaking things sounds great in software. In defense, breaking things can mean policy gaps that nobody's prepared for. Here's what keeps military strategists awake: asymmetry. If the United States has autonomous drones and China does too, the advantage is speed. Whoever's algorithms are faster wins. Whoever deploys swarms first wins. Whoever's willing to take bigger risks in deployment wins. That's not a game you want losing. The implications cascade. First, accountability. If an autonomous drone makes a firing decision and hits the wrong target, who's responsible? The programmer? The commander? The company? The government? International law hasn't settled this. Nobody's written the rules. Second, proliferation. Once this tech exists at scale, it spreads. Allies want it, adversaries develop versions. In 5 years, third-world nations could have autonomous drone swarms. Technology gets cheaper, copies get made, and suddenly every conflict looks different. Terrorism becomes harder to fight when terrorist groups operate faster than governments regulate. Third, automation bias. Humans start trusting algorithms over instincts. The system says engage, so we engage. Psychology shows this with car autopilot. Multiply that by warfare stakes. An algorithm makes a mistake and thousands die. That's the system working as designed if nobody built guardrails. Here's what should alarm you. Venture investors aren't worried about any of this. They're worried about market share. Tech ships first, regulation arrives second. Human cost happens third. That's the timeline we are locked into now. How should we think about this? There are real, legitimate applications for autonomous drones: border patrol, airspace defense, disaster response. These are straightforward. No human is in immediate danger. The decisions are relatively binary. Is this a threat to our airspace? That's defensible. But then there's the territory that's legally and morally murky. Targeting suspected combatants in zones where the civilian population is mixed in. Making engagement decisions based on probabilities rather than certainty. Those scenarios are where autonomous systems become problematic. The technology isn't smart enough to always know who's a combatant and who's an innocent person in the wrong place. Neither are humans, but humans can adjust, apologize, take responsibility. Machines execute orders. The real red flag is this: Any defense technology that removes humans from the decision loop in a combat scenario. Drones that scout and report, fine. Drones that engage without any human confirmation, that's the line. And quantum systems is absolutely building toward that line. Here's what to watch for. First, are they talking about human in the loop or human in the decision? They are different. In the loop means a human can override. In the decision means a human approves first. Second, who's their customer? Democracies tend to have oversight. Authoritarian states don't. Third, what's their funding coming from? Government money has more accountability than private equity chasing returns. The technology itself is neutral. How we deploy it defines whether it's a tool for stability or a tool for dominance. So here's what this moment means. Quantum Systems' $1.2 billion funding round is a signal. It's a signal to the world that autonomous warfare isn't speculative fiction, it's investment-grade reality. In the next 2 to 3 years, you're going to see autonomous drones deployed in real conflicts, maybe just in surveillance roles, maybe in combat roles. The technology exists. The money is allocated. The only thing left is deployment. What should that mean to you? First, understand that this changes the nature of conflict. Surprise attacks happen faster. Escalation cycles accelerate. Geopolitical tensions matter more than ever because the reaction time is measured in milliseconds, not hours. Second, understand that our laws and ethics haven't caught up. We're building weapon systems faster than we are building safeguards. That's a dangerous mismatch. Third, pay attention. When quantum systems or their competitors announce new capabilities, ask the hard questions. Are they being transparent about deployment, about failures, about collateral damage? Accountability matters. If we're going to live in a world where autonomous drones exist, and we are, then we need at least some companies and governments being honest about how they are being used. The future of warfare is autonomous. We're not debating whether it happens. We are in the early innings of it happening right now. Stay informed, because this technology is moving fast. And the world it creates depends on choices we make today.